All right, we are live. Let's see if people come in. Hello to everyone. I think we're following the go live thing today, because I was in 2 other live streams earlier. Just pulling up the chat, see if anyone pops in. I just got my guidance to go live and they kind of talk about choice point. Hello, Willow. How are you? So I'm just getting the screens all set up so I can see the chat and see this at the same time. Perfect. Hi, Grace. Hello. Welcome everyone in. So I wanted to talk a little bit about choice point. You know, it's interesting because, hey, Peter, look at this. We've got Patreon tribe in here. Awesome. Rockin'. There's been a lot happening in my own life, and I haven't been paying attention too much to what's been going on collectively because that's just what I needed. But I did want to come on and come live because my universe had instructed me to do so. It was a part of just showing up again. It feels like this time away from YouTube has been years, and that just goes into showing about the acceleration point and the length of time and the upgrades that have been occurring, and that's why I coming on here was like, what am I going to talk about, right? Because I haven't been paying attention to collective energies really. There's a lot that's moved through, but you know, I was just recording a video and something said, talk about choice point, because this is a big one through when we're going through a lot of solstice. So solstice energy, as well as the eclipses, has been choice point and tests, right? And I want to talk a little bit about that. I just want to take a moment for everyone to just kind of tune into the soul. Coming back to all that you are. What I'm doing is just setting a stage, just permission for you to just be the light here and now. Not doing any energy work, just giving you space, holding space for you to just be the soul, to be the light here and to receive all that which you need. So I always respond to free will, freedom, autonomy, and sovereignty. And I want to make sure we declare that out loud openly as I serve my source. So choice point. What is choice point? There's been a lot of narratives and a lot of themes that have been kind of bombarding us in every now moment, whether it's a pathway, an old belief system, an old thought form that's been coming up for review for us. And I found this with very much so those on the path of what I would call the ascended collective, right? And just let's note, everyone has a different experience, okay? So if this doesn't resonate, don't attach to it. This is just an experience I've seen me and a few others have, and it's regarding reviews and choice points. So when we are about to level up into a new trajectory and into a new pathway, okay, we all begin to experience what we call a choice point. And choice point is basically a review of the systems, the review of our belief systems, the review of our lives to see how we're going to choose to navigate. Okay, so for myself, I've noticed there's a lot of internal talk that has been occurring more and more and more. And a part of this internal talk is that it's very old, but it's my choice on mindfully whether or not I'm going to accept that belief system in my reality, right? So a part of this is to just not allow everything to exist, but also finding the polarity of being able to tune in really deeply and know within myself, okay, within my archival records, what programming is existing and being able to bring balance to that, right? So if I find that there's a thought form that comes up, right, and it's in the realm of judgment, right? I choose peace and I choose love. If there's fear coming up, choosing faith, trust, surrendering over and over and over. And I find that it's been a long pathway of choice point, even in telepathic exchanges. Okay? And this is something that came through the other day when it came to telepathy. right, is making sure that when I am hearing telepathy, that I'm asking to speak to the higher self of the individual in which that is connecting with me or I am connecting with. Because a part of resonance, right, is that let's say two people meet and we correspond at a certain frequency. That's that bandwidth that we're operating at. And what we hear and perceive and witness in that can start to distort based upon our own program. And so a lot of this choice too is there's been a lot of, people have been reporting on, even myself, things not making sense etherically. Let me just put it that way. There's a certain way I want to navigate the way that I bring this forward as information, because I want to make sure it's existing at the highest vibrational bandwidth so we don't keep recreating the storyline. So I saw others go through this and myself as well. And I noticed that there was an important part of making sure that we are speaking with the higher self of all that which we are connecting with energetically, especially as we're going through Mercury Retrograde, right? So Mercury Retrograde being the focus point of communications, vocal communications, but also there's been a huge level of work going on with etheric communications as well, and making sure that we're using our discernment, right? And it's a level of tuning with our mastery that has been necessary. But as a result too, is in these exchanges, hearing the programming coming on, are there people that are still keeping you? And I say people, right? Because it's nothing outside of us. It's actually within us, holding us to an old storyline. So a part of this choice point is that you're in between pathways, right? You're in between narratives, reality streams. That then is, what are we going to choose? Are we going to allow this old story that we tell ourselves as the human, right? As the identifying human, or are we going to begin to represent ourselves, see ourselves as source in body? Are we going to see ourselves as the higher selves? And are we going to begin to treat ourselves and the internal talk as source, right? Which is to not allow certain beliefs to be running within the field, within the conscious. The amount of light that's here, there's a lot of subconscious beliefs that are coming to the surface, and we're going through a huge dismantling, right? And a part of this is that when you hear the internal talk, how are you corresponding to the internal talk, right? And what are you doing to be able to shift it out? So for me, when I hear a judgment, or I hear a blame, or I hear a shame, or I hear fear, or I hear my trauma, I immediately step into a self-talk narrative for myself that's beginning to bring an opposite charge to that program so it can begin to neutralize it. So this is the infinity, right? So if it's got a, we're going to speak in negative positive here for the sake of energetics, but if it's got a negative polarity, I bring a positive polarity into that, because that's going to bring it into balance and begin to neutralize the programming within my own field. It's also saying no more, consciously recognizing that I have command over the belief systems in my reality. I have command. Okay, there's a difference between command and control, right? And manipulation and all those things. But I have command over the belief systems that I hold. And I, as a sovereign being of life, right? So as a sovereign soul, as a sovereign divine human, I have opportunity here now to say no more to these programs as they come up. And that's the choice point, right? And it's a lot of what is creating the new pathways that we're all walking in ascension. This is what creates a lot of the collective pathways, right? This is what happens with the review. We review, right? So what does the collective need? And then this is what begins this navigation point in the realities, right? And so choice point very much so has been coming, So for me, it's been making sure that I'm stabilizing and maintaining the connection with the soul, higher self, light body, with my higher self aspects, which many would call our team, whether it be angelic, galactic, elemental, ancestral, making sure that I'm building to that listening and responding, corresponding to that which is coming through for myself, even in my own reality, making sure that I'm showing up in the highest and I'm showing up in the purest form of me, in the purest expression of forward. Because what will start to happen is the minute that I go unconscious and I make a choice from unconsciousness, it opens up a reality stream for me to navigate to work through that programming for myself. And so what happens is this is a part of weaving. And this is what creates the nonlinear pathway of quantum realities, is that we're constantly, navigating, and everything is always corresponding to our energetic vibration. It's constantly corresponding to our physical body's vibration. It's corresponding to the amount of light we're holding. What aspect are we working with from within? And so the words that came up just a few days ago was choice and freedom, right? So it's recognizing that choice point review is coming up, but am I choosing freedom, right? Am I choosing sovereignty consciously in every now moment, right? So when I hear this thing is going on, right? what is, there's a, let's just say there's, freedom exists here and now, it always has. It's just the belief that we didn't have freedom. Okay. So what it is recognizing that this higher self aspect that I'm working towards embodying, that many are working towards embodying right now, has freedom, free will, sovereignty, and autonomy. And making sure the choice that is higher self aligned, especially with belief systems, is making sure that I am choosing freedom over everything else, right? And it's really important for what's going on in the world, just to continue to choose freedom over and over and over again. And so the self-talk in my own reality has been nonstop. Here's something I'm through. Nope, sorry, I choose freedom. I choose the higher self. I allow, I dissolve all resistance. I attach to nothing, right? Because an important part of walking through, okay, walking in a quantum reality, a heart-centered reality, is that truths shift and change. The reality bends and flows and changes. It's not fixed. And so we are fixed to nothing. When we were fixed in anything, we would call that a timeline, because we were existing in time. That was the linearity of the human condition. And so a part of us anchoring quantum here and now and walking as the quantum is knowing that we're navigating so many different pathways and existing in all dimensions at once. And so as a result, as we're navigating this, we're choosing freedom, but also recognizing that there is really no, in the quantum, there is no stable, firm foundation. It's actually just adjusting to this new bandwidth. And so even myself, I've gone through a very massive upgrade process that's going to keep evolving and keep tuning. And the guidance, okay, the guidance, yes, release resistance, by the way. I heard resistance. So release resistance, you know, this is about flow. When we're coming into, so to come into this, right? Because I had heard resistance in the field. When we're honoring quantum flow, it's about us attaching to nothing and going with the sway of the energetic current that is being provided for us by the higher self. So let's all be reminded that right now, everything is soul aligned in our realities. Everyone's individual reality, including the collective reality, is soul aligned. And so as a result, though, when we keep choosing freedom for ourselves, when we keep choosing that sovereign pathway, as we're navigating that, we do have to release resistance and release attachment, because nothing's fixed. Even myself, I had heard the other day, Corey, you need to get off YouTube. You need to get off YouTube for 4 months. And 4 days, I'm back doing a live stream, right? Because maybe the lessons and growth that I needed to go through that would have taken 4 months accelerated and occurred in 4 days. So we attach to nothing. Even myself, I'm about to pick up and move. I'm about to get going again, out on the open road. I'm actually leaving in a few days. And I call this the journey of the Phoenix that I'm going on, because it's my freedom journey. As there are others that are embarking on this now, and I'll touch on this later. But even my day of departure has changed 50 bazillion times, because I live in 12,000 million different realities, and each one has a different pathway for myself, right? And it all exists at a different frequency. And so a part of this is making sure that you are tuning in to that organic pathway for yourself. Imagine that exists. So imagine that you're a radio station, as we all kind of technically are when we're speaking on energetics, and that your pathways and alignments exist at different bandwidths. So if let's say that optimal pathway that I'm walking into right now exists at 105.7 FM, if I wake up and I'm tuned to 98.6 and I'm existing at 98.6, I'm completely missing 105.7. If I'm tuned into 105.3 or 105.1 or 105.8, right? I'm missing the mark on that 105.7 pathway. And so every day it's about tuning into the higher version of myself, recognizing that it exists in that pathway and making sure that I'm staying tuned to that pathway in every now moment. So a part of that mindful tuning process is that it can get, it can feel wobbly because there's no firm foundation. Truth is changing, directions are changing, right? All we need to have is one little energetic shift or solar flare, and then all of a sudden our pathway can go 1,500 miles east or it can go 300 miles west. And that's how mine's been. It's been every day, constantly tuning and checking and knowing that anything outside of present now, it's too much burden, right? Too much of a load to carry. It's about really, and this part of navigating is about how can we be pure present, right? Because a part of existing outside time is we're not projecting into the future, we're not living in the past, we're just here and now. And how can we operate, be, and surrender and thrive in this pure present moment and just allowing the universe to hold us and to support us, right? It's been really interesting navigating, even through the choice point, right? Even through all this stuff happening that I've been hearing and sensing and going through. I'm like, wow, you know, why has this occurred? Well, a part of my faith and trust in my universe is knowing that I've gone this far. My universe is not leaving me off the cliff. My universe isn't going to sandbag me here and now. Heck no. And you know, there's so many other things that come in that I wanted to get into, but I'm not going to right now. But it's about knowing that my universe is supporting me and loving me, guiding me in every now moment. But it requires pure presence to be in, in stillness, and to be in really deep connection and deep trust, especially when it comes to travel. And so that's been the shift is that there is no security. There's nothing set in stone. There's no guarantee on anything. But that's freedom. It's freedom. And a part of embodying the Phoenix for myself is bringing the power on to live, walk, breathe, and be as freedom, no matter what. To be autonomous and sovereign as the soul. But also to be able to walk into the magic of the reality. Right? To be able to immerse myself in the reality and to be with the reality. To enjoy the reality. When we have worked through a lot of, the ascension pathway and the awakening pathway, right? So we can talk about, reprogramming, deprogramming. We can talk about shadow work, however we want to label it, that works for us, right? Healing work, right? Inner child work, womb work, mother work, reparenting the inner child. This level of work can become damning and punishing on ourselves, especially if we hold judgment. So an important part of releasing the tendencies of judgment is stepping into that divine perfection of who we are and allowing ourselves to be divinely perfect here and now. So yes, I recognize that there are still belief systems that are running, and there are systems and things that are going on that are definitely not what many would call divinely perfect. But in the orchestration of source, right, it actually all is, especially in soul-aligned visions and in soul-aligned realities, which we're all existing in right now. We're all walking in soul-aligned realities. But a part of this, because the navigation point of work, right, healing, deprogramming, shadow work, reparenting the inner child, all those things that I stated, how we dance with that work is varied for various people. It's going to shift and change, right? But for myself, it's been making sure that I release all judgment, right? I drop all this that I'm not perfect here and now, and I just begin to enjoy myself and practice unconditional love. So there's a moment to go dive in deeper, right? There's a moment to dive in deeper. There's moments to ask for help, but there's also moments just to honor all that I am here and now and to find that unconditional love, especially when it comes to the unification of the soul tracks, right? So a big theme happening right now that I'm noticing, and we could say this is collective, is unification of the tribes. Like a lot of people are moving into position to meet tribe, and as a result of us meeting tribe, is that if you want to welcome in that deep resonant soul tribe, the basis of that connection, since it is true soul family, is unconditional love. So a part of me coming in back into unconditional love of self is making sure that I can allow unconditional love in. Because when true unconditional love comes in, it can feel uncomfortable, especially for those of us that have experienced deep trauma, deep wounding, all those things that we've gone through was a result of the 3D condition. It's allowing in that unconditional love. So for myself, I had to take this moment to just like step back and go, you know what? Just love yourself, honor yourself. Give ascension a break. Don't focus on the energies. Don't take care of other people. Focus on yourself. Step offline, self-love, integrate, get to your new vibrational bandwidth, and then figure out how to navigate in this new. This is what happens for a lot of us when we begin to walk into a new vibrational bandwidth. Is how do we walk with this experience, especially quantum flow again. Heart-centered recognition that everything is shifting and changing. The reality is constantly bending, breathing, moving, and it's shifting so many directions and currents in every now moment. These coordinate shifts are always occurring, especially with the amount of energetics that are coming through the gate systems that are coming through the sun, that navigating, right, in this new way can feel unstable. But it's actually just releasing the resistance and stepping into flow and learning to dance with the tides and dance with the sway of universal energies. Right? So unconditional love has been a big focus, dissolving all the judgment for myself of work and just allowing myself to be where I'm at right now, right? Not trying to make comparisons, right? Not trying to be this person or that person, or to put too much pressure on myself to be pure, because this level of work can also can become damning and punishing on ourselves, where we're just not accepting where we're at right now. So once again, it's a balance point. We fix to nothing. Even this truth can shift in 2 seconds, right? All I have to do is go up a few octaves and it will change, or someone else, might need to go through some processes, and so that truth will shift. We attach to nothing. We attach to it. But we also recognize that the reality is built on belief systems, guys. The reality is built upon belief systems. And a lot of people are putting down the teacher's cap. So find out more, Kudo. Because there's been a few of us that have been noticing many lines coming up that we're clearing in regards to this. And it really is just recognizing that everything's about a belief system in our reality. Every reality is built upon belief system. And they all bend and flow and shift and change in every now and then. So a lot of this navigation too is we're reviewing, right? We're reviewing and we're detoxing and we're purging all of those old belief systems that no longer serve. And even some of the new age beliefs, right? It's literally let go of everything you think you know. Let go of everything you think you know. Every time that I jump up an octave in my own reality, I have to let go of everything I believed and everything I once knew. Because what was true in a 3rd or 4th dimensional level of consciousness is going to be completely different in 5, 6, 7. And I'm using the dimensions for sake of measurement for all of us, right? So we're not playing separation and everything's just vibration. But based upon the level of consciousness I hold, that belief system is going to shift and change, right? And today I could go through a level of purification. I could call on the Ring of Fire energy, or I could call on Phoenix energy and purify. And tomorrow I could be a completely different person. So we fix, but we just allow ourselves to bend and to flow, right? And we stay connected as the higher self. So yeah, navigating this has been interesting. It's been really interesting. And even this move and this transition I'm going into, can't look too far out in the future. I just stay present every now and moment, and I just go where my universe wants me. Right? And I just keep aligning and keep tuning. And that's something that's been very, very beneficial for a lot of us right now. It's just pure presence. Don't look into the future. Just be here now. Right? Be here now. A part of this is that we're going to start to hear more about, as many of us are waking up and our beacons are on, right? Our beacons are on and we're speaking out into the collective. We start to go into the lines of prophecy, right? Is that everything is shifting and flowing and moving. And what was supposed to happen, right, might not actually anchor in this reality. And it might be occurring in another dimension, but it might not be occurring, including service roles, relationships, including things that we're attached to and looking forward to, right? We're in a big wave of galactic revelation. All the codes coming in have been anchoring a ton of star codes, right? And a lot of people are going, when are they going to land? When are they going to land? When are they going to land? Guys, we're galactic beings in a body. We've already landed. We've already landed. And that's the thing to recognize, right? Within all of us, is that a part of this revelation is to wake up to the galactic nature within all of us, to wake up to the star seed within all of us, but also to remember the sacred connection of the soul so we can begin to flourish the star seed. This has been another big one on this pathway for myself that's opening up. And I state this because whether or not it's occurring collectively, I don't know. I only go into my own reality, right? And whether it resonates or not, that's entirely up to everyone here, whether it resonates for them or not. But a part of flourishing the starseed, right? Growing up and growing the starseed into the full-blown galactic being is connecting with the sacred essence of myself, because the sacred essence of soul is what softens all those galactic lines. Because there's so much really heavy-duty galactic stuff that's occurred to a lot of us. So as a result of clearing those lines, we connect to the sacred essence of the soul and we soften. We soften, but we also mature the starseed. We mature into those levels of responsibility that we hold in our pathway in service to Gaia, into our mission, our pathway, whatever we want to speak it or breathe it into being. It's about being that responsible galactic here. And so there's a level of maturation that's occurring in my own reality and how to take responsibility for myself. Also making sure I'm holding the highest in every now and then, right? That I find when I'm going into judgment, that when I find I'm going into distortion, right? And making sure that I take that moment to step away and to take care of that program, to dissolve it and resolve it, but also to have fun and to play. You know, a lot of this journey has been grueling and damning. I'm actually looping back into this one right now, but free of looping systems, right? Coming back to this narrative is the experience of playing. Reality is we're unplugging from the trauma lines of the 3D world. It's the importance of us playing, living in our joy, living in our love in every now moment. I'll say this one has been very interesting in that, right? There are some days I can play and some days I can't. But a lot of us going out and having an experience, right? So especially through 2020 and even longer for some of us, a lot of us have just been kind of going inside, doing a lot of internal work, internal resolve and dissolve. Is that there was a lot of joy for the experience for myself. I'll speak for myself. There's a lot of joy for myself that for the experience that I had lost. And a part of coming back into unity with myself and coming back in this new vibrational bandwidth is how can I find joy in the experience again? So a lot of this freedom pathway that's opened up as the journey of the Phoenix is to go have a joyful experience, right? To go have a joyful experience. But as a result of that, it's the only way that can occur for me is making sure that I'm working on my belief systems, but I'm allowing myself to have fun and to have joy, to enjoy the experience. Because this journey, especially as we're anchoring the higher realms from within, those realms that exist, they're fun, they're playful. And when we capture that essence of joy in our reality, we can carry that through into everything that we do. And the basis of our reality can be built on play, can be built on joy, can be built on fun. And some people have this locked in and dialed in, right? And some of us are discovering how to do this. This is a part of freedom. It's like you've got a whole new reality to live. Hello, Lauren. You've got a whole new reality. How can you live your reality in the highest form of joy? Right? How can you truly enjoy what you do? Surrender to the experience, to the quantum flow, but then allowing that joy to come in and to bring that through into everything that you do in your life. And how can we spread that joy? I'm hearing "Fly Like an Eagle" right now by Seal playing, and that's been the biggest thing is it's time to take flight, even in my own reality. And this is that journey of the Phoenix. It's time to take flight. You're the butterfly. You're out of the chrysalis. Wings on. Go fly. Go be a starbird. And how can I go share that in my own reality and begin to go enjoy that as well. Right. So right now, as we are navigating through the choice points, right, make sure when you hear something, you witness something going on within, and it's even telepathic. Hold on, I want to read this by Jen. What is joy when no longer attached to former people, places, thoughts, and things? That's a part of that's the essence and the divine question that can only be found in the experience. What is fun and what is joy when no longer attached to former people, places, thoughts, and things? That's the thing, is it's new. The essence of all of that is new. And so a part of that is we have to go figure it out, right? And it's like what came through earlier is training wheels are off. Find balance, right? And think about anyone who's ever gone through learning how to ride a bike. When we learn how to ride a bike, it takes over and over again, right? Stumbling and falling, getting back up. That's the resilience of ourselves. It's the resilience of not only the human condition, but of the soul drive of the higher self. And a part of that vision quest is making sure, first off, we look at where we are still holding fear in our reality and call that forward as a place point in the pathway to secure that belief system, right? And where we're still fearing the new and allowing ourselves to embrace that this new is going to be every new reality, okay, is better than the last one. Yeah, complete free fall, trust fall. The word coming through for me has been trust fall. It's been trust fall. Has anyone seen those trust falls? Literally a leap of faith. And it's not a blind leap. What it is, it's the human not knowing, so you can surrender that to the higher self fully. Surrender that to the soul. And that's just the way I view this, right? Is this trust fall, it's just, you know, the song big time has been Into the Unknown. They took your elbow pads too. Yep, they took my elbow pads too. And it's about into the unknown. I've been hearing that song a lot from Frozen 2. It's going into the unknown, right? And following that call, right? Heeding that call and making sure that we're listening to the call so the reality doesn't provide enough pressure on us to where we're forced into that pathway. because that's what happened was my universe told me, here's the date, here's the time, you got to go, right? And it's because there were things that I wasn't elevating in my own reality that I need to get to, right? So a part of me getting to this new reality was pressure had to be put on for me to navigate the shift. And there's a lot of pressure being put on those that are not listening to the soul call. And that's what can happen. That's the higher self's way of stepping in to shift us, right? And to move us into a new reality. And to move us into that soul life pathway for ourselves. So I just want to take a moment here. Yeah, really about this is as we are detaching more and more, how we can begin to enjoy the experience of the new is really up to us, and allowing that to be a fun experience. Because whatever we want to see it as in our belief systems and what we hold is what will be, right? And so just it's a lot of this is taking command and noting that when we're looking into the new, are we seeing it with old lenses? Are we seeing it with old belief systems, or are we allowing new to show up for ourselves as well? You know, because many of us can get stuck in the thought loops of recurring old over and over again because we keep expecting it. And so it's like a lot of us it's allowing new and flipping the script. You know, write yourself a new story. I've been talking about this so much. Write yourself a new story. And I did this for myself. I went online and I got out my notepad and I wrote myself a new story. And when I find the old coming in, I stop and I read myself the new story. Because once again, the direction, right? Being the director of my reality, and you know, and it's not a controller, it's taking command of the pathway and the storyline that I hold within my DNA, is that when that old storyline comes up, a part of my choice point is, okay, am I going to allow the new in? Well, I have to retrain. So let's go back to that new story that I wrote for myself. And I just repeat it over and over again until the reality shows up, because it's about us holding it within, holding the trust, holding the faith, holding the peace, holding the love, holding the abundance, whatever we're calling forward for ourselves, long enough that the reality can catch up to it, right? And the higher that we are vibrating in our physical body, the faster it will show up as a manifestation of it, or the creation of that, you know, the return on that, responding to the energetic vibration that we hold. So we have to hold that faith and trust. And when that moment comes, right, whoop, little doubt coming in, we have to do something to shut that. We don't want to suppress that doubt, right? We want to hear the doubt, but we also need to not let the doubt have control. And so we begin to tell ourselves a new story, reframe the thought process, right? And that's been a big part of embodying the new and discovering the new on the new pathways, right? A big thing for myself too is noting that even though we're in soul-aligned realities, every opportunity that comes forward here and now is not a doorway to your highest aligned pathway. It's all soul-aligned, but I've really been having to use my discernment as there's been much coming through, right? And there's creations that I'm calling forward. Are there old creations that are showing up now that I need to dissolve and let go of? Or is this truly into alignment? And this is where I, tune in. I go, universe, show me, what is the representation of this in my reality, right? Of this opportunity. What is it leading me towards? And there have been moments of blind faith. I'll say blind faith, but it's what it is deep trust and deep surrender of the human condition to the higher self, allowing the universe, my God, source, creator, whatever we want to speak or breathe it into being as, allowing that to navigate me. And when I followed that, a door unlocked, and I started to witness all these different things that were occurring as a part of this pathway I'm walking on, and I'm truly excited. But as a result, I have to let go, right? And I have to let go of the identity, right? And that's been a big one. Many of us are going through this existential crisis or identity crisis. Who am I? What am I? Right? And it's a detachment from the human condition. Because, when we are transitioning, so in a new earth transition, when we are walking from the old paradigm way of navigating into this intuitive, heart-centered, higher self, soul, light body, star body, galactic, crystal, rainbow, indigo, whatever we want to put it as, right? Just let's say new paradigm. Part of us walking into the new paradigm and transitioning is having to let go of everything, including the identifying factors with the human. Because the more we identify with the human and we disconnect from the soul, the more the human runs the show. And this is what this new process is of the internal governing system. It's the soul, the heart compass, and allowing that to be in its organic form and expression as we're activating more, as we're integrating more and walking as the soul, right? Walking as the heart and allowing that to navigate. So there's been this level of identity crisis. Who am I? What am I, right? It's helping us to unanchor from and to attach from the human form. So while the temple is the vessel, this form is the vessel of the light here and now, it's assisting us in connecting to the light of us, connecting to the energy, recognizing that we are energy, how everything corresponds to energy, the nature of reality, really simplifying our life to tune into a different way of being within all of us. And this is an important part for the belief system restructuring that's occurring on Gaia, where we talk about, you've heard me say about the governing body, right? So the age of Aquarius is all intuitively driven. We're not giving our power away to anyone else and letting them to tell us, when to eat, sleep, be. It's allowing the heart and the soul to drive us. So for those of us that, when it comes to programming, polarity shift, for those of us that were kind of like rebels for a long time, a lot of us have to abide now. But for a lot of people that were abiding for a long time, now need to kind of be a little bit more rebellious in nature. It's a part of programming. And it doesn't mean acting up or acting out, right? So I'm by no means giving anyone, I don't give anyone approval to do anything. That's on your sovereign choice, your sovereign being of light. But I'm by no means stating, I kind of have to be mindful of the way I word this here and now. But, a part of this is like, so for myself, being someone who is very counterculture my whole life, I have to abide. But a part of that abiding is that the pathway to that which I desire to create in my reality might be a longer pathway. Right? I can't shortcut it. And a part of aligning our reality to the new energetic guidelines of the dimensional bandwidth that we hold and that we're operating in, or we're trying to anchor in the highest pathway, is the navigation might take a little bit longer. So the easier route might be, go to the bank and ask for a loan, right? And for some of us, it might be hurry up and wait and align. For others, it might be to, I don't know how else to really phrase this because it's going to differ for every individual. But a part of this abiding is we abide, but we let go of some old ways of creating. We allow ourselves to align organically to that which serves in the vibrational bandwidth we hold. We don't compromise, right? So it's soul integrity. We compromise. And we don't let strings come in and attach to that which we're trying to create and different opportunities that we're trying to align with in our own lives. And so a part of that process is we might seem picky, right? But we're just using our discernment and making sure that we're checking into the belief systems that hold this opportunity in place and making sure that it is based on sovereignty, it's based on autonomy, it's based on freedom and free will for all of us, right? The choice of freedom here and now. The freedom codes that have been coming over and over and over again for the past couple of years, and making sure we're choosing freedom no matter what, right? Making sure we're consciously every now moment choosing freedom. Choosing freedom for ourselves, choosing freedom for others. And now I want to talk about benevolence. So this is another one that's been covered. Hold on, Jen's got another question. Now I'll talk about benevolence. Thoughts on paradigm shifts leading to calling ourselves by a new name. So this has been happening for myself, and a part of that is allowing more of the higher self through. So a lot of people do this. I've seen people do this. I don't want to just declare that a lot of people do this, but I've seen people do this. They start to call themselves a new name. And it's assisting them in detaching from the identity of the storyline of their name to their human form and beginning to allow a new expression to come forward. Even myself, I was told you need to create a new name for yourself. Now, Founders of Light is a whole different moniker, but meaning so the name that came through was Corey Lightbody. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still playing with it, right? But what my universe was doing for me was helping me, assisting me to stop connecting to Corey, because I had an attachment to my name. Corey is, so what is the story we tell ourselves with our name, right? So Corey is fill in the blank. And there's so many things I can go into with that express the human condition, but also express the soul. So a part of the paradigm shift for us leading to calling ourselves by a new name, from the way I see it based upon the vibrational bandwidth that I hold in the belief systems I hold, is assisting us from unanchoring from the human aspect and connecting more to a newer version of ourselves, or we could call it the soul version, an aspect of ourselves, the light body version, the star version, the galactic version, the higher self version, the elemental version, the magic version, right? The wizard version, the God version, whatever we want to call it to be. See, yep, a girl who has no name. When they gave me Untitled Tarot, it was very a girl who has no name. Yeah, and it's important. Hey, Patrick, look at this. We summoned the tarot tribe to show up. Really cool. Yes, very much so. And that's the NLP thing has been coming up so much too, is like, and that's about the control paradigm, right? And so it's really dissolving all of that in our own lives so we can begin to connect more with the soul essence really us using vocabulary is just translating energy, but it's still very limited and fixed. Hello, good to see you, bud. Good to see you. A part of us associating with the name and the NLP thing and the programming is that the essence of us is beyond human words, and it's beyond belief systems, beyond all that. And for us, we use vocabulary to express a translation of that which cannot be translated fully into human form, right? But programming can get in the way of us trying to explain fully. So yes, that's basically what I have to say about that. But I wanted to go into benevolence. These are codes that came through, and I wanted to talk about the benevolence codes, right? So a part of this is that when we access this knowledge and this wisdom, the sacred archives of our soul. Hi, Everlong. As we're accessing the sacred knowledge of our soul, is making sure that we are walking, being, breathing, and assisting in caregiving roles, service roles, however we want to call it, as benevolent light. Okay. As benevolent light. And a part of us being benevolent is being a compassionate witness to all that are going through their process, right? Whatever it might be. And a part of us showing up as benevolent light is we're using the heart to lead and to guide fully humanity, and to lead and to guide others, right? So because there's been a lot of judgment, blame, shame, guilt, and a lot of distortion that's been held in the caregiving roles and in the helper roles or the humanitarian roles for a long time. And we're seeing it now dissolve. And I see it in my own reality, and there's a few of us that see that there's a lot of shifts that are occurring with the dynamics of teacher student, I don't like the teacher role, but way shower guide, however we want to speak it and breathe it into being. That now us activating benevolence within us is activating the purity of the heart space to guide and to lead and to shift and to be with that, right? Because the thing is that when we are benevolent beings of light, we do hold unconscious aspects. And a part of us remembering the benevolence of ourselves is we act, breathe, be, and serve in benevolence. So it's for the good of humanity, right? And it's to not chop down or to criticize or to slay, right? And that's an operating thing that's occurred for a really long time that does not facilitate an expansion, right? So when we're offering a safe container, right? Let's think of the divine feminine essence. So let's just think of the energy of the divine feminine, true, purified, divine feminine energy. Okay, so we're not attaching to the human label of this is a divine, no, the energy of the divine feminine, nurturing, supportive, beautiful, right? And so while we can never say that the divine feminine essence is either light or shadow, it's all encompassing, right? In the feminine essence, we have to look at the fundamental frequencies of it being that supportive nature. It truly is benevolent, right? And so when we're activating that essence and we're holding that in the field for others to expand with, right? The nurturing of the divine unconditional love, that's what creates room for expansion. And so it's holding benevolence in all that we do, but it's also recognizing that we've all been walking through so much in what we would call 3D landscape. Everything has been trauma, right? Everything has been, control, manipulation, using our words against us. It's been lack of integrity, giving our power away. And so as a result, we don't damn or criticize others. We just hold sacred respect and honor. And if we can't, right, that's okay. Okay, no judgment. But yes, we do it all with love. We do everything as love. And if we can't be love, it's okay. But it's time for us to take a step back, to review, come back to love, come back to that essence, and then that's how we navigate. So Brujas have been throwing me off by channeling in other languages. Anyone else have this experience? Have been throwing me off by channeling in other. What's Brujas? I'm just reading the chat. So I've been having light language come through. You can ask for things to because that's interesting. When I'm connecting to different aspects, especially different star aspects, they will speak to me in light language. So if they're speaking to me in light language, it's because there's a soul remembrance that comes through. Because sometimes when we hear the frequency of the language that doesn't exist, like let's say within the human condition, it activates a remembrance within us. So when I'm light encoding, okay, so when I'm when I'm writing light encoded articles and stuff, there's different aspects I speak to. I can speak to a soul aspect, which is a sacred divine remembrance. So with sacred divine remembrance, we're speaking more of like the holy version of ourselves. And the galactic star being a different language that has an activation that speaks to that aspect. And so if you're listening, to another aspect and or a guide, for instance, and it's speaking in another language, it's to assist you in facilitating and activating a different aspect of yourself. So I've had moments too where I've had language that's come in that's been like Latin or Spanish, and I actually typed to a galactic aspect, but it facilitated in getting me to open up to start speaking light language again too. So especially light language, some light language can sound like Spanish, especially if we're going like ancient Mayan or ancient Aztec, or even like Andromedan sounds like Spanish to me. Sometimes it'll speak to me so I can begin to play with those words because it's speaking to a different part of me, of my DNA. Because yeah, frequency exists beyond words, but it will also, every new frequency will speak to an aspect within our cellular coding, and it will unlock a code within us. So yeah. So anyways, but really, it's important for all of us to walk, breathe benevolent light in all that we do, and to begin to treat each other as benevolent light as well, right? To begin to see the light within other people. Because there's been a lot of like the whole playing in duality thing going on as well, that I've seen in my own reality, people playing in duality. And it's important for all of us to see the light within all, because if for all of us, if we can see the light within one another and allow that to expand, that's how we feel as the soul, and we begin to stop a lot of the things that have been hurting, harming humanity and society at large. So anyway, I just wanted to come on for a little bit and say hi. Something just, I had, even I was told to stay offline over the next couple of months, something shifted today. So wanted to hop on and say hello to everyone. I might be going live before I leave, on whatever day I'm leaving, whenever my higher self says to go. And I will be posting on the trip, but for the most part, I'll be online. I'm still running sessions. So I'll have sessions online and active. If anyone needs a session, just reach out. I'm pretty sure groups will be done. I'm coming to Patreon. I don't know. I mean, literally the only guidance I've been getting recently is to just be, until about an hour ago, my universe was like, time to create something. And it's been nothing but being for a while now. So yeah. So guys, if you need anything, please reach out. I have no idea where I'm going, Jen. I have 3 different pathways. And according to Rob's tarot earlier, not far from the desert. So, but we'll see. I've tuned into different things. Might be going west, might be going east, might be going north. So I'm not sure. I'm going to tune in on the day I leave and just allow the universe to take me where I need to go right then. So either way, I'll be in the RV. I'll be having an experience, and I'll be updating people as it goes along, because a lot of this is connecting with community and connecting with tribes. So taking a lot of the pathway off of the media and go actually out and having an experience and meeting people. So it's an important part of my journey to connect with people in person. And so wherever I'm at, I'll keep people updated, and we'll see as it flows, as it goes. So that's it, guys. I love you all. I'm gonna sign off for now. Go be, and it's 4:44 here, so good timing on that one. Perfect timing. So I love you guys. Please be gentle, be kind, be loving, be beautiful, be soft. Remember that we're still in choice point, very much so, and solstice is all about tests. So when we're going through the test, just stay highest aligned, keep listening, keep connecting, keep focusing on love, and it'll help us to get through this review period, and to open up that new pathway for ourselves. So I love you guys. Much love and respect to everyone out there, and I will see you